Hello everybody, welcome back to Read and Reread. I am Angelia, and today I'm going to do a little update on my 60 before 60 project, and specifically highlighting the next batch of books coming up in my science fiction double feature project. I started a 60 before 60 project. I think I started it in June, and it runs until October of 2026. So I just turned 59. This is a 60 before 60 reading project before I enter the next decade. And it's divided into two wings, 30 rereads that are books that I have on kind of a master list that I have been wanting to reread for some period of time. Every time I see them or somebody talks about them or I pass them on my shelf, I think, man, I really want to read that one again. So I'm attending to that and progressively reading 30 books. I think I've done about 9 or 10 of them so far. That is just sort of a personal project. Some of them end up being buddy reads. I pick them as I go through the months. There's not a big master schedule for it. I have a list of books I want to read and I'm fitting them in. Sometimes they go with a theme of the month, and so that's kind of, it's a little bit loosey-goosey, but there's a concept of a plan. And then the other half is more organized, and that is 30 pieces of speculative fiction, science fiction, dystopian. Some of them are classics, some of them are brand new or more recent. And it's not really intended to be any kind of overview or study of science fiction. It's just books I've been wanting to read, and even new releases that look exciting, because I really love science fiction and post-apocalyptic and dystopian literature. So that one, I do have a Discord, and I invite people to join in and read them with me. Now, when I first started it, some people were surprised that there's 2 books every month. I don't expect anyone else to read 2 books every month. I have to because it's my project and I'm trying to get to the magic number. But everyone else is perfectly free to come and go, dip in and out, read books that look interesting to you. So if you would like to join in, there is lots of time left, an entire year. And I will put the Discord invite link down below. I didn't plan the whole project out. Again, I have kind of an ongoing master list of things I'm interested in, and I picked them out in a few months at a time and kind of in chunks, because I want to leave room for flexibility, changes in mood, new discoveries, etc. And so today I want to talk about the books coming up for the next few months. That way, if you are already in the project, well, if you're already in the project, you probably already saw this because they're in the Discord. And they're also on Storygraph, thanks to the lovely Amelia, who has constructed a story graph to go with this project. So if you want to keep track that way, it is available as well under the name Science Fiction Double Feature. But I wanted to just talk about them for a few minutes in case you're new to the channel or you heard about it before but you hadn't joined, and maybe you'd be interested to know what books are coming up in case you want to read along. Also, in this Discord, it has kind of evolved from just talking about the science fiction books. There's a lot of just everyday bookish people chit chat going on. There's sections for currently reading, prize list talk, what else? TV shows, and just general chit chat, miscellaneous photographs of pets. There's just all kinds of friendly chatter going on in this Discord. So if any of that sounds appealing to you, please join us. And now I want to preview the books that are coming up for the next few months, from now up until through February. So this month in November had already been loaded, but I'll just tell you anyway since that's where we're at, and then the next one's coming up. So this month's selections were The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, which already went back to the library. And then now I'm about to start reading A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is the first book in I think it's a 4-part series. And when that happens, I'm not going to put the whole series into the project, just that first book. And then I and anyone else can decide if they want to pursue the rest of the series. But I've heard so many good things about this, I'm putting it in. I'm running kind of late because it's sort of thick and I haven't started, and I kind of need to get going, but I'll probably start it today or tomorrow. And this is a space adventure of a lighter tone about a woman who joins onto a crew, and then I think the mission becomes longer or more complicated than she expected, and about the bonds that form within the crew. And then moving on into November, we have The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. I don't remember the translator of this book. I'll put it up on the screen. I'm going to get that one from the library. And I believe this is about an island where objects have begun to go missing piece by piece. And it's about the memories and the importance of those objects for the people and families that live in this place. And that is all I remember from when I decided to put it into the project. But I read, what else did I read? I read another book by her that was not speculative. I read Mina's Matchbox earlier this year. But that one was more of a historical fiction about, and it was a family story, but this one is speculative. The other one I do have on hand for November is Zone 1 by Colson, Whitehead, and this is a zombie apocalypse in New York City. The plague has sorted humanity into two types, the uninfected and the infected, the living and the living dead. Oh, wait, maybe I thought it was New York City, but now it says Buffalo. The worst of the plague is over. The provisional government in Buffalo orchestrates the return to civilization with the aid of therapy seminars, corporate sponsorships, and the uplifting anthem, "Stop, Can You Hear the Eagle Roar?" The resettlement of Manhattan is a top priority. Okay, I knew it was New York City, but pockets of plague-ridden squatters remain. There's a guy named Mark who is one of the survivors. I think he's narrating this story and reflecting on what happened and the past life and how it got to where it is today. But I thought we just needed to usher in the holiday season with a good zombie apocalypse. And I love Colson Whitehead. I like how he has dabbled in various genres, so I wanted to read this book from his backlist. Then, for December, we have an author that I've really been wanting to try, Adrian Tchaikovsky, and the book will be Service Model. It is a standalone. He has some series that get great reviews. They're super long, chunky books. I'm trying to avoid things that are excessively long since there's 2 per month. And this one is not thin, but it's a little better than some of the other ones. And it has to do with a robot. Oh, maybe I should have researched this before I start talking about it. Okay, so there's a robot who murders his owner with a razor, a shaving razor, but then doesn't remember what happened. Sent to diagnostics, along the way he notices that human society appears to be in complete collapse. At diagnostics, the robot, now known as Uncharles, meets the wonk. So he was Charles, now he's Uncharles. This is giving me a little bit of shades of Murderbot. The wonk tells Uncharles that he has developed free will and has murdered his master to escape slavery, explaining his earlier malfunction. Okay, so he goes on some adventures. I see something about librarian robots. I don't want to know too much in advance. It is definitely giving me some Murderbot kind of sensation, so we'll see. The other one for December is a 20th century, I don't know if it's a science fiction classic, but it's a science fiction story from the 20th century called No Blade of Grass, or The Death of Grass. There's a different title in the US and the UK. There was also a movie in 1970. And the author of this book is John Christopher, who wrote one of my favorite trilogies of all time. These ones, White Mountains, the Tripod trilogy, the White Mountains, The City of Golden Lead, and The Pool of Fire. It's a YA science fiction. And I've also read this adult science fiction book called The Possessors of his. It's about aliens. It's kind of a pod story. Aliens are taking over human bodies and it's terrorizing people at a ski lodge. But this one is a kind of a climate change story. A strange new virus has appeared which only attacks strains of grass such as wheat and rice, and the world is descending into famine and chaos. Architect John, along with his family and friends, is making his way from London to his brother's farm in northern England, where there will hopefully be food and safety for all of them. Ushering in those good tidings for Christmas with some apocalyptic dread. So I've been wanting to read that book for a long time. I think I'm going to have to track down a copy because no library that I associate with has this book, so I think I'll have to buy one. I've seen some interesting vintage covers of it too. So it's been around a good while. Okay, while I'm trying to improve upon my explanation, I'm going to look up the memory police real quick. On an unnamed island off an unnamed coast, objects are disappearing. First hats, then ribbons, birds, roses, until things become much more serious. Most of the island's inhabitants are oblivious to these changes, while those few imbued with the power to recall the lost objects live in fear of the draconian memory police who are committed to ensuring that what has disappeared remains forgotten. All right, good times. All right, so that's November and December. Then moving on to January in the new year, I have a new book that just came out last week actually. It's called A Guardian and a Thief by Megha Majumbar. It came to my attention because it was on the short list of the Kirkus Prize and also of the National Book Award. It is currently this month or next month. It's the Oprah pick, which I didn't foresee coming, so now that's going to be stuck on every copy of the book. So here is a little description. It is set in a near future Kolkata, India, in which two families seeking to protect their children must battle each other, a piercing and propulsive tour de force. Ma, her 2-year-old daughter, and her elderly father are just days from leaving the collapsing city behind to join Ma's husband in Ann Arbor, Michigan. After procuring long-awaited visas from the consulate, they pack their bags for the flight to America, but in the morning they awaken to discover that Ma's purse containing their treasured documents has been stolen. And it is set over the course of a week where she is trying to find her stolen paperwork so that she can save her family. It sounds very timely in a number of ways. And I did not read her previous book. She has a book called The Burning, which apparently I need to check into. It is referenced in many of the reviews of this book, but this one sounds right up my alley. And maybe yours too, so come on in and read it with me. The other one in January is an oldie but goodie, The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. And I've never read this. I have seen the old movie that I guess was from the 50s or 60s when I was a kid. It mesmerized me. I saw it late one night. I used to watch this late night horror movie showcase thing called Creature Features. Thought it was awesome. Never read the book. And I've heard that the book is excellent as well. So I want to read it. And I am assuming my library will have a copy of Day of the Triffids, but I'll put a picture up here. And that is about, there's like a meteor shower, and then there's sort of like the plant-like aliens. And I can't remember what it is that they're doing to the people, but the initial incoming, I don't know, the lights or whatever, when the aliens arrive, made everybody go blind. And then in the movie, there's this guy who was in the hospital, so he didn't look at it. If you looked at it, you went blind. In the movie, there was this man, and then he meets this woman who has always been blind, so she can navigate a lot better than everyone else. But that's what struck me as a kid watching it, was everybody everywhere all of a sudden, nobody could see, and everyone's just blundering around. And then there's these kind of plant aliens. So got to read the source material. And then I've planned it up through February. I want to read a book by one of my favorite science fiction authors, Octavia Butler. This is what I've already read by Octavia Butler. And the book that I want to read is called Dawn, and it is the beginning of a series. The series has a name. Can't remember it. I'll put it up here. What is it about? We better look it up. Okay, so this series has two possible names. It's been called the Xenogenesis Trilogy. It's also been called Lilith's Brood. It is a trio of works: Dawn, Adulthood Rights, and Imago. So again, I'm going to read the first one in the project, and if I want to go on or anyone else wants to go on, we can do that, but it won't be listed in the project. It would be like a side read. So Dawn is from 1987, and it begins with Lilith Iapo, a black human woman, alone in what appears to be a prison cell. She has memories of this happening before, with an enigmatic voice that asks strange questions. She has no idea who this is or what they want. She remembers a nuclear war and an earlier traffic accident in which her husband and child has been killed. The truth emerges in stages. The same questions are asked. She's then visited by humanoid beings whose appearance terrifies her, even though they behave well. And she learns that the earth is now uninhabitable and humans are all extinct, and that she has awakened 250 years later on a ship. So that sounds fascinating and kind of tragic and scary and all kinds of things. And I love Octavia Butler, so I've been wanting to get to this one for a while. The other one for February, a little bit of planning would have gone a long way, but no, I just turned on the camera and started talking. Annie Bott is the other one. The author is Sierra Greer. And believe it or not, when I picked all of these, I did read about them. I didn't just pull them out of a hat, but I didn't want to tell you any misinformation trying to describe them. So let's look up Annie Bott. I know it's another robot story because originally I thought about putting Service Model and Annie Bott together in the same month and having a robot month. And then I felt like that actually might get kind of old after reading it straight through the month. Annie Bott was created to be the perfect girlfriend for her human owner, Doug. Designed to satisfy his emotional and physical needs, she has dinner ready for him every night, wears the cute outfits he orders for her, and adjusts her libido to suit his moods. She's not the greatest at keeping Doug's place spotless, but she's trying to please him. She's trying hard. She's learning, too. The more human Annie becomes, the less perfectly she behaves. As Annie's relationship with Doug grows more intricate and difficult, she starts to wonder whether Doug truly desires what he says he does. It's such an impossible paradox. What does Annie own herself? So that sounds like it could have a lot of layers to it. I heard about that one a while back in a review from Lindy from Lindy's Magpie Reads. She made me really interested in it. It's taken me forever to fit it into my reading lineup, but now it's coming up. I know that sounds like a lot, like just a heavy progression of some pretty serious themes and some apocalyptic situations, but do remember we're talking about from October through next February, so it's not really a steady stream. It's kind of off and on throughout the next few months. So that is what is coming up. I hope there was something in there that has tantalized you. And if so, please join in when the time comes and read along with us. If you have other books that you think I should consider to put in the rest of the project, I can add them to my master list and look them up and see. I'm not putting in things I've already read, but you might have some wonderful suggestion of a book that I am not aware of, or it might already be on my list. So let me know in the comments below. Or if you've read any of these already, what did you think about them? And the next time that it's time to update this list, we'll be talking about the books for spring. So that's kind of hard to imagine sitting here in fall, but we'll soon be talking about spring. And meanwhile, I hope you are having a great day. And I will be back on Wednesday with something else that I'm working on, trying to get it together. Have a great day. Bye-bye.